last video, I said the NFC East was the most disappointing division in 2025. Well, I may have jumped the gun with that because I also forgot how underwhelming the AFC North is. So which one was worse? I'll let you guys figure that out. What's going on, guys? Dig Support here, back to another video. And things in the NFL change quickly. I'm not just talking about year to year, I'm talking day to day as well. At the time of this recording, things could be already different by the time that I upload this video. That's how crazy things are going to get the next few days as we approach the off-season, the start of the off-season. And things have already happened today, so I'm glad I'm recording this video today because two teams in the AFC North made moves, and we're going to go over them right now, starting with the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, with the Ravens, it's easy to say, okay, last year was a fluke. Lamar's going to be healthy. They're going to reload. They have a new head coach. They're going to be fine. They're going to get back to the playoffs. But then you also have this lingering thought of, what if they don't reload? What if Lamar does get hurt again? And what if the new head coach doesn't make the team any better? There is that thought as well. It's one where you have to say they can be back to being a great football team, or they could completely fall apart and end up picking in the top 5. More likely the former than the latter, but I've seen weirder things happen. They're picking 14th overall, and last time they had the 14th overall pick, some safety from Notre Dame fell to them. What was his name? Was it Kyle Hamilton? No, Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton, who is now one of the best defensive players in the NFL. You can make an argument he might be the best defensive player in the NFL with everything that he does on the field for the Ravens. So, we'll see if somebody falls to them, but I still don't know how the NFL let that happen, how they let Kyle Hamilton fall to the Ravens. It's like, what were you thinking doing that? In terms of salary cap, $19 million, but you gotta remember, Lamar Jackson has a cap hit of over $70 million. If they can get an extension done before the offseason starts, which Baltimore and Lamar, I'm willing to bet, they're working on that every single day up until free agency starts. They're gonna free up a lot of cap space, which is good for them because they need help on the defensive front, especially at the edge position. After they traded away Odafe Oweh, he became one of the Chargers' best edge rushers. And really, the Ravens just don't have that guy. Kyle Van Noy's a free agent, so is David Ojabo. Ojabo was a failed second-round pick, and there's no guy on this team that really strikes fear into quarterbacks. You're hoping Mike Green develops into that, but it's just not there. And I don't know if one of the top edge rushers is going to fall to them at 14. The defensive line definitely need help there. Movavi got hurt last year. It looks like he will be able to play again, but they still need more depth considering Brett Urban is a free agent. They're definitely going to need guys on the defensive line, no matter what happens with Movavi. Wide receiver, seems like it's always a need a wide receiver, but DeAndre Hopkins is a free agent. Rashad Bateman took a big step back from last year. Zay Flowers is a legit #1 receiver in this league. And right now, he does need help. He really does need help. And then offensive guard, they had probably the worst guard duo I have ever seen in Daniel Falele, who's a free agent, and Andrew Voorhees. They've got to shore that up. And another issue, their starting center, Tyler Linderbaum, is a free agent. He is one of the best centers in the NFL, and I always say the center is one of the most important positions in football. He has to be the smartest guy on the field, so Linderbaum's a free agent. If they lose him, they have to make sure they get a quality replacement, or else they are just not going to have a great offensive line. And as for other guys, Draymond Jones is a free agent. Alani Gilman is a free agent. They got him from a trade with the Chargers. Jones they got from a trade with Tennessee. Both of them did very well once they got there. Darius Washington is a free agent. He came back after tearing his Achilles. Patrick Ricard, their fullback's a free agent. Tylan Wallace, who's had some great plays with them. Isaiah Likely, who was one of the top free agents in the offseason, he's a free agent. Might get a big contract somewhere if you think that last year was not an indictment of what he's going to be going forward. Jordan Stout, their punter, is a free agent. He could get a little bit of a payday. He had a great season last year. So Ravens have a lot of decisions to make. If they get that extension done with Lamar and free up cap base, we could see them really make some moves, re-sign some guys, and bring in others that are going to be a great fit to this team. With that 14th overall pick, once again, if somebody falls to them, the NFL teams only have themselves to blame. I mentioned two teams already made moves in the AFC North. One of them was the Cincinnati Bengals, who really made a smart move by re-signing Dalton Risner. Dalton Risner has been a very good offensive lineman, so the Bengals just got him re-signed. That was big for them, especially since what's the number one goal of the offense? Keeping Joe Burrow upright. And the offensive line has just been struggling and struggling the last few years, and every time they do try to improve it, and it has improved over the last few years, but they still need to do more with that. Speaking of improvement, yeah, the defense. It's not good. It was not good last year. They had questions about the defense going into the season. They didn't do anything about it, and look what happened. It's the defense that let them down. They have $50 million in cap space. They can improve this defense. The question is, will they? I have no idea because Mike Brown, well, I don't really need to say it, do I? They got the 10th overall pick, so you're hoping that they can get a quality player there. Trey Hendrickson's a free agent. Are they going to put the franchise tag on him? That remains to be seen. We'll see what they do there. Another one of their interests is Joseph Osai. Hopefully I said that right. Is a free agent along with safety Geno Stone. Cam Britt-Taylor, one of their corners. Another corner, Marco Wilson's a free agent. Joe Flacco, that's going to be an interesting one. Will Joe Flacco call a career, or will he come back for another season? I mentioned they re-signed Dalton Risner. Noah Fant, a former first-round tight end. He's going to be a free agent. Cam Sample, another guy that's going to be a free agent. Really, for Cincinnati, it's all about making sure the offensive line continues to improve and just doing something with this defense. If they don't get Trey Hendrickson back, that's their best defensive player, okay? That's their best defensive player, and the steps that they have taken to try to have a guy next to him just hasn't worked out. Myles Murphy has not worked out as a first-round pick, and Shamar Stewart did not have a great rookie season. We'll see if he can improve, but really, it's all dependent on can they re-sign Trey Hendrickson and can they bring in guys to help this defense, because that's going to be the biggest thing. And Joe Burrow, they can keep him healthy. They could get back to the playoffs, or after another losing season, would that be it for Zach Taylor as head coach? That remains to be seen. Now, who was the other team in the AFC North to make a big move? That would be none other than the state rivals of the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cleveland Browns. They traded for Titus Howard from the Houston Texans and then signed him to a 3-year, $63 million extension. That's a lot of money for a, well, I'll say serviceable offensive lineman. Howard's a little bit better than that, but I'd say serviceable. That's a lot for him to live up to. We'll see if he can do that. And for the Cleveland Browns, we all know the biggest question. Quarterback. What are they going to do with that position? Of course, we have Deshaun Watson coming back from injury. But then you also have Dylan Gabriel, who they drafted in the 3rd round, and of course, Shedeur Sanders, who they drafted in the 5th round, who finished out the season. What's going to happen there? I haven't the foggiest idea. But with the 6th overall pick, more than likely, they're not taking a quarterback in the 1st round. I mean, man, Doza's going 1st overall, and there's just not another quarterback that I have a 1st round grade on. Spoilers for upcoming video, but it's the truth. Not many other quarterbacks you can say have the potential to be starters at the NFL level at this point. And for the Browns, it's just, there's too many quarterbacks on the roster. It's better to just get this roster back into shape and then figure out the quarterback position afterward. But there is an issue because Deshaun Watson's contract, it's a big cap hit, and they have negative $16 million in cap space. What are the Browns going to do? I haven't the foggiest idea. What do they have to do to make some room? We shall see. Probably some players are going to have to go. In terms of needs, offensive line is one of the big ones. I mean, Wyatt Teller, Joey Paterno is a free agent, along with Cam Robinson and Ethan Pettick. Sorry, I might have said that wrong. I definitely said that wrong. But all those guys are free agents. All those guys are on the offensive line. Wide receiver, Jerry Jeudy's a good wide receiver, but who else? And then tight end, David Njoku's a free agent. Okay? He is one of the better tight ends in the NFL. Have to find a way to replace him. Shelby Harris is a free agent. Devin Bush. Telvin Jenkins, another offensive lineman who is a free agent. And then Jerome Baker, their linebacker. And then Jerome Ford, one of the running backs, is also a free agent. And look, this defense was amazing last year. definitely get some more depth pieces, maybe see if you can bring some more competition in. But the defense was elite last year. The reason they didn't go for it was because that offense was just so bad that they need to make drastic changes there. And again, I know the quarterback is going to be talked about, but they just don't have... They're not in position to take a rookie quarterback. They're just not. There's not one we're taking 6 overall after Mendoza, and they just don't have the team in place for that. You're better off sticking with Watson or Gabriel or Sanders and figuring out what happens there. So the Browns, it's going to be a little bit of some time, especially with a new head coach in Todd Monken, but if they're patient and they make the right moves, could be back in the playoffs sooner rather than later. But then again, we've been saying that about the Browns for the longest time, and they just got rid of the most successful head coach they have had since they came back into the NFL. With the Browns, when does it end? So the Steelers won the division last year, but they got bounced in the first round again. They're picking 21st overall. Mike Tomlin stepped down as head coach. And the last few times that's happened, remember, they've had 3 head coaches since 1969. And every time, it was a young, up-and-coming, defensive-minded coach. First Chuck Noll, then Bill Cowher, and then Mike Tomlin. And they decided to go with Mike McCarthy, who's been through 2 head coaching gigs already. And yes, he's won a Super Bowl with the Packers, but I just don't know if this was the right move for the Steelers to make. And you have Aaron Rodgers potentially coming back for another season, but he's going to be 42 years old. And a lot of other players, their stars, are not really that much younger. I mean, you have Cam Hayward. How much longer is he going to play? That's a serious question. TJ Watt, he's had injury concerns, and he's now over 30, and so is Jalen Ramsey. These are great players, potentially Hall of Fame players. Well, definitely at least 2, probably 3. It depends on what you think of Hayward. And I'm talking about defensive players. I know Rodgers is going to be a first ballot. Anyway, but yeah, a lot of their stars are getting up there in age, and you just have to wonder how much longer is the Steelers going to be able to keep this up? Because it's a team that is never great enough to be Super Bowl contenders, but they're not bad enough to where they can bottom out. And that's really the worst thing to be in professional sports. In terms of cap space, they do have $39 million, and they have a bunch of free agents. I mean, a bunch of free agents. When you talk about the top needs, quarterback is definitely up there because you want to have future for that position, especially since Rodgers says that he just doesn't want to come back. Wide receiver, DK Metcalf, okay, he's a really good receiver. Who else is there, especially since Calvin Austin's a free agent? And then I would take a look at the secondary. Like I said, Jalen Ramsey is in his 30s. You have James Pierre, that's a free agent. So is Chuck Clark, one of their safeties. And Kyle Duggar, another one of their safeties, is also a free agent. This is really one where it's either all in or all out for the Steelers. They go all in, and it turns out they don't do it. I don't know where they go from there. It's really a case of this is a critical year for the Steelers, and it could go a number of ways, and we're just going to have to wait and see what they do. But really with the Steelers, I mean, is 9-8? Are we looking at that again? Or 10-7? Getting to the playoffs and losing in the first round again? I think Steelers fans have just had enough of that. Alright guys, those are my thoughts on the AFC North. Next up is going to be the NFC North, and I did not say this in the first 2 videos. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think of these teams? What do these teams have to do to get better from last year? And who should be the favorite? Who should be the favorite in each division? Let me know what you guys think. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.